Welcome to the Power Perspective. This is the season finale. I'm BJ Tench.
And my name is Shawn Francis-Coleman.
Hey Shawn, how's everything going, man?
Oh man, everything's going incredible, man. Had a really peaceful holiday. It was serene, man. How about yourself?
Everything was pretty good until I happened to watch a little bit of the sports entertainment. And I'll give that credit to the Dallas Cowboys. Hopefully our viewers don't, click off as soon as I say that I follow the Dallas Cowboys.
I am also a Cowboys. It's interesting the similarities that you and I have, man. It's actually sometimes really a little bit scary in a good way, because I'm also a Cowboys fan, actually.
But some of the highlights from yesterday, obviously good food.
Great food.
Saw some loved ones who I haven't really seen in a long time. We reflected, we reminisced, we talked about some of the current events that's going on. Some were good, some were bad, some were very humorous.
Yes.
Typical family time, man. Not necessarily the Cosbys, but we're not dysfunctional either. So
right.
it took me back, and I haven't seen my parents in a while, so it's always good to catch up with them, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's speaking of parents, man. Actually, this was a unconventional. People who follow my work know that I'm a very unconventional, non-traditional person, and I had a very non-traditional holiday as well, and that I really took the time to be by myself. Actually, my wife went with her family. A lot of my family from the surrounding area went and did some other things, and I just stayed home. My father is now passed away. He's transitioned on to the next life. I put a picture up of him and just talked to him, had some food with him, had a drink with him, and just listened to his spirit and soul, man. So it was great.
Well, that's interesting that you had brought up that piece about how you looked at your father's picture, and obviously you reflected, thought about some of his teachings and your great upbringing to make you the man that you are today.
Absolutely.
That I may say so myself.
Thank you.
Today's show, we're touching on vision, and I might as well start it off by saying this, man. And if I'm digging too deep, please don't hesitate, even though we're in front of an audience. Mm-hmm. Stop me. Did you ever see the day coming where you'd be living without him?
No, I didn't see it. Maybe in terms of the dictionary definition of actually visualizing that. I think that sometimes we do have a death anxiety, that we call it in counseling for ourselves or for other people. Maybe unconsciously I thought about it, but I definitely didn't think about it coming when I was 30 years old. He was in bad health, so I always knew that the potential for it could have came whenever I was 22. Yes, you know what I mean? Or any time between 22 and 30, but I think that sometimes we get a little bit arrogant and think that, this person's going to be here. This person will be here for a long time. And I think that I thought my dad was definitely going to be here for much longer than he was. So I unconsciously I may have seen it, but I didn't see it at age 30 for myself, no.
And the reason why, Shawn, I'm bringing up what you see is because today's title of the show is on vision. Yeah. Whether we're dealing with, similar to what I just brought up for Shawn, seeing a loved one pass away, or we're dealing with our own aspirations in the work field, or maybe we have relationship barriers where we want to see where the significant other may see us. There's certain things about vision where people don't necessarily work on that, behind the scenes. And what I mean by that, Shawn, is, for instance, when we're talking about our physical vision, at least once a year, mm-hmm. Some people may every 6 months need to get a checkup on their vision.
Right.
Well, if you never see the eye doctor, if you never make that trip, the peers around you, your family members, those who you interact with on a day-to-day basis, they have no idea what you see.
Right.
So you might start looking crazy.
Right.
You might start appearing delusional.
Yeah.
And some people may come off apprehensive to acknowledge the obvious, which is, what is he seeing? What is he or she seeing?
Right.
So metaphorically, what I'm speaking on today, was not necessarily the physical vision, but internal. Mm-hmm. Like, what is your vision? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? If we're talking on the workforce, where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself becoming a supervisor, an advisor, depending on what the position is that you may have and your future aspirations. If it comes to relationships, you know, whether you're watching a soap opera or whether you're dealing with people on a, you know, day-to-day basis in your field, counseling,
right.
You know, what do you see in this person?
Right.
This is everyday conversation, man.
Right.
Like, what do you see in such and such? She's a smoker. You're a avid hard worker at Planet Fitness.
Yeah.
Grueling, rigorous schedule. She's smoking, she's drinking, he's smoking, he's drinking. First thing most people say is, well, what do you see in them?
Right. That's an interesting concept because it causes me to think about two things prominently. One, when you speak about, you know, whenever you elegantly brought up the fact that, you know, what is this person seeing? Sometimes it could be family, it could be friends, and people don't understand your vision, you know, or maybe you don't understand other people's vision. Vision is a very difficult thing to sometimes grasp whenever it's not your own. Right. And, you know, I know that as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, I know that I've had those struggles with myself, with my own family, just people not understanding like my vision, you know, what I want to do with my life, you know, even professionally, people are thinking that I should be doing X, Y, and Z with my company. In the name of Perspective LLC, we take the I out of perspective because sometimes you do have to take yourself out of your own perspective in order to broaden your horizons, right? And I have to do that for myself as well. Even though this is my company, I still have to remove myself from my perspective sometimes so that I can maybe be more objective and see what you see, what somebody else sees. It also, your comment also reminds me of one of my clients who I felt like I was stuck with this client, you know. People, you know, have a lot of endearment for me, a lot of respect for me as a professional counselor, and they'll say I do great work. But sometimes you get stuck. I had a client, you know, recently where this person was just stuck. They were kind of committed to their problems. So one day I asked this person, I said, you know, we've been on work for a while now, like, and it just seems like you're a little bit more committed to like your problems than you are the solutions. So I'm wondering, like, why do you keep coming to see me? And this person said, because you allow me to see myself in ways that I don't see myself.
So in that instance, Shawn, you're her eye doctor.
I'm her eye doctor. Great example. I guess to her, yes.
And that's pretty much what I'm telling our viewers today. You know, it's very important that you have someone around you that sees the train coming, metaphorically speaking.
Right.
That sees the crash course. That sees the person that is around you that becoming detrimental or that they're draining you. Because you may have this great vision of this person, or you might be naive to knowing that the individual around you or individuals are making you somewhat delusional. And we've all been, no one is that high and mighty. You know, this is not a holier than thou channel, you know, where we just only see ourselves as we've never been caught off guard, or in some street terms, you know, we say, you can get got. We've all been got before. You know, we didn't see it. Whether we're talking, dealing with, you know, people on a romance level, or we're talking about just friends, you know, partners who have, we let them in. We made them think that, you know, that we're in it for them.
Situations.
Putting us in situations, and then lo and behold, that individual wasn't who you thought they was.
Oh, man.
So it's important that everyone has, not necessarily a Shawn Francis-Coleman, but there's always that one individual that can help you see what you don't see. Right. And that's what I want to ask our viewers, you know, like, when are you checking in? How many months, how many weeks, how many days does it take for you to say, you know what, I need to start seeing an improvement?
That causes me to, when I thought about this idea, this topic that we're going to talk about today, that question right there actually pervaded my mind, because I actually think that before we talk about vision and what people are seeing, you really first have to talk about the tools that you have to see.
Yes, sir. Right?
Because if you wear glasses, if those glasses aren't clean, if they're not the right prescription, you know, I don't know the right terminology, but it can affect your vision. You know, you have eye problems, it can affect your vision. You might have great mind sight, but if your vision is messed up, you know, it's going to cause you to have just difficulty maybe bringing that mind sight to fruition sometimes. Maybe, because then we could, but there's the other side of the coin where we could say that even blind people have some great sixth senses. Some blind people have their other senses are kind of amplified as as you call the physical vision has been taken away. But I kind of want to know what you think. When you think about vision, what do you think about first dealing with the idea of cleaning and sharpening the tools that you have to see?
Well, first of all, when I think of vision, I think of people who get called crazy.
Okay.
Believe it or not, whether we're talking about Einstein or we're just talking about individuals in our community who we observe on a day-to-day basis.
I like that.
They may come off and say something totally delusional.
Yeah. They
may have an invention in mind
yeah.
that everybody else calls them crazy.
Yeah.
Almost coming off as, paradoxical thinking.
Yes.
Like, oh man, this is very absurd for you to think that you can come up with a toaster.
Yes.
Like
yes.
who thought of that? Who
yes.
thought of these crazy inventions? Someone who saw it.
Right.
Someone who saw it. Who thought that the exercise program PX90 would work? Yeah, that's insane.
Right.
The insanity workout.
Right.
Who thought of someone like you, Shawn Francis-Coleman,
right.
coming up with an anger management program? Those who might know you from your inner circle might say, Shawn, you're crazy, man.
To your point, yes, yeah, and I'm gonna get a microphone right back to you. One of my mentors back when I was 21 years old. This is somebody who was in my corner, BJ. Somebody who was in my corner told me that that he said nobody's gonna pay you $20 an hour to talk to him, right? That was in 2008, and this is somebody that was supposed to have my back, right? So I'm like, but I never believed him. Most stuff he said, I would take it to heart, right? I'm like, well, this guy is wise. He's in my corner. But when I told him that I'm going to get people to pay me $20 an hour, he said, ain't nobody going to pay you that. Now we fast forward to 2017, people are paying me over $100 an hour sometimes to talk to them. So I just say that to say that sometimes the people in your corner is going to be the people who ain't really always in your corner. So you have to make sure that your vision and your belief is just, larger than anybody else's.
And you have to look in the mirror. Yeah. If you're physically able to look in the mirror,
right?
Or metaphorically speaking, if you know what you want to do, what goals you want to accomplish, where you see yourself, not where you see Bethany, not where you see Suzanne or Michael or Bobby, etc.
Right.
These are names I'm just plugging in. Where you see yourself, you have to have that hard-headed mentality. That rough rider, very willful, to the point where, it doesn't matter what they see.
Right.
It matters what I see. Right. You're going to get called delusional. Right. You're going to get called crazy.
Right.
But it all comes back to where your vision is, But it is important to have both sides. And if someone doubts you, you turn that negativity to positive. You don't see it, I'm going to make you see it.
Mm-hmm. I believe it. Well, I'm looking forward to talking more about that. I definitely hope that you all stay tuned with us. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the Power of Perspective, the talk show with Shawn and BJ. We're here talking about vision. BJ had given us a synopsis of what vision is from his perspective. I think that we also talked about what vision is from an objective perspective as well, because like success, sometimes vision needs a blank space in the dictionary so that everybody can define what it means for themselves. But can you just maybe, continue the flow, the momentum of this talk about vision as we continue to explore it?
Again, before we went on break, we were talking about, having your own vision. But we're also talking to our viewers about, when it's time to see, metaphorically speaking, the optometrist. Am I pronouncing it right?
I think you are. Don't ask me.
The optometrist, the eye doctor.
Yeah.
I apologize to our viewers.
That's better. I like the eye doctor.
Yeah, the viewers out there who may, be very critical of the grammar, I apologize. Please charge it to my head and not my heart.
Right.
When it's time for you to schedule that appointment, you're not supposed to wait until you are blind.
Right.
Unless something detrimental happens to you, where God forbid, you're in an accident,
right,
or you suffer from a stroke or something in that nature.
Right.
But most of us who rip and run on a day-to-day basis have a normal schedule, which probably isn't you or I, but there are a lot of viewers out there who work a regular schedule.
Mm-hmm.
You're not necessarily always thinking about seeing the eye doctor.
Mm-hmm.
You might be thinking about seeing a normal physician, at your local doctor's office, but you're not thinking about seeing the eye doctor, which is crazy to me, because no matter what, no matter how strong you may be, no matter how physically able and physically fit you may appear to be, if your vision gets shut down, everything goes on hold. So I'm saying to our viewers today, not necessarily touching on the physical aspect of vision, but your own personal vision where you may see yourself. Obviously, physical is one of them, but it could be something occupational.
Yeah.
It could be something spiritual,
Yeah.
mental.
Yeah.
Shawn, I had a chance to observe you 2 weeks ago when you had spoke on the 8 bodies of wellness.
Yes.
And well-being.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I apologize.
No worries. No worries.
And in my assessment, I noticed how you was touching on all of those different bodies, and the spiritual, the occupational, the mental. And then I'm not going to front to our viewers. I kind of put that into today's lesson plan, how I was going to present.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't see yourself spiritually on the incline,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't see yourself mentally on the incline, then how do you expect your loved ones, your peers, to see you progressing also? Right. If you're stuck in that mold of just, being caught up in being complacent.
Right.
So I want to make sure our viewers stay on point with vision. It starts with what you see yourself in the mirror.
Right.
It can't be the next person beside you.
Right.
You have to have one self goal. And that, at the end of the day, is to progress. That is to go further. That's to go forward. Do you agree with what I'm saying, Shawn?
Oh, absolutely. And actually, I'm causing to be led to speak about vision in the business way, because as you talk about vision, as you talk about goals, you talk about progression, it causes me to go back and think about the inception of Perspective LLC, right? You have to have a vision statement and a mission statement.
I'm going to touch on that.
Right. And the vision statement is what you see the company doing, what you envision the modus operandi and the life of the company doing. What is your company here to do? And the mission statement, the mission is how you're going to bring that to fruition, right? Well, with Perspective LLC, I kind of want to go back to that, is in the sense that I think that my company is unique because we're telling people that in order for you to broaden your horizons, you got to take yourself out of your own perspective. That's why we don't spell perspective with the I in it. And I think, to your point, it's pivotal and it's integral because sometimes it's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame. So, we are sometimes stuck in our own views in our own ways. And I think it was Einstein, like you brought up, Einstein was somebody who said that this mind has created problems that this mind can't fix. So therefore you need other people. You need a Bernard Tench, you need a Shawn Coleman, you need a Dr. Ian Edwards, you need somebody maybe like a Yolanda Van Zandt, a Lisa Nichols, a coach, somebody who
I was going to touch on the coaching aspect.
Yes. To bring out these things. We're like flashlights because really you have blind spots. So that's how I want to respond to that one.
And everybody can be gifted in coaching.
Yes.
As long as you have a knack for helping people and you have an urge to want to see them do better, everyone can coach. And I'm not saying that as in the sports aspect. I'm just talking about on our everyday helping someone's well-being. You get someone, you notice their gifts, you notice their talents, but you also notice their flaws. And if they don't fix their flaws, similar to your own physical being, you're looking for problems.
Right.
So in regards to the vision, if you see yourself, let's touch on the occupational. If you see yourself wanting to make $50,000 a year, but you're stuck in the mind state of a person who is just complacent about doing their job and not going the extra mile. No disrespect. You probably won't see that 50,000. You'll be stuck at 25,000. Some of our viewers may disagree, and that's fine. I love the fact that we have such an authentic base of people who are watching the show right now. But this is my take on it. If your vision doesn't see yourself winning, then all is lost.
And to that, I think that's a good point, because okay, let's say you want to make $50,000 a year. Also, I think that, especially in a place like we live in, I think that it's so important that we challenge people to increase their vision exponentially, right? Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is a place that lacks progression, has a lot of small-minded people. I don't mean any disrespect to the people in the city or the city, but when you travel around different parts of the world, you sometimes like you really can see Pittsburgh a lot better. You recognize, oh my gosh, wow, like I remember my mom and dad used to have us travel as children, and we would see like when we be in Chicago, when we be in Atlanta, whenever we be in South Carolina, whenever we be in Virginia, we would see so many different things that we didn't see in Pittsburgh, and it really caused us to see Pittsburgh for what it kind of was, unfortunately, and it was a city that was behind in so many different ways. So why couldn't somebody make $50,000 a month? Why couldn't somebody make, $10,000 a month? You know what I mean? Why couldn't somebody make, the point is, why should you be limited to make 40, 50K a year if your vision, can exponentially overcome that? Again, kind of going back to what you were saying about having somebody authentic, one of the most powerful things in having a coach, having a therapist, having some type of professional mentor, going back to what my client said, like I really didn't understand why this person kept coming to see me, because it seemed like we weren't making any change or any improvements. But they said, look, I keep coming to pay you because you're real with me, Shawn, you're authentic with me, and you show me parts of myself that other people don't show me. You say things to me that other people kind of were timid to tell me, and I like being open to other parts of myself that I don't see because other people don't tell me that they see it.
And a good coach is supposed to tell you to travel. Right. Now, in your case, your parents did a phenomenal job by letting you travel.
Right.
And I can think back to the day when I was an athlete. One of the key things that my high school coach always wanted us to do towards our junior going into our senior year was go to different camps. And I played football. We went to the University of Pittsburgh's football camp, went to the University of Virginia's camp. And the first thing he came back is, what did you see?
Yeah.
We saw other athletes who were bigger, stronger,
right.
faster,
right.
Better hand-eye coordination, etc. But we also got a clear vision of who our competition was. Because once you left that institution of high school, once you left that school and you go into another university, no disrespect, you probably are going to go up against better competition than you did in high school.
Right.
So it's important to go out and see and travel so that when you come back, you have that vision. I may see a different opposition later on in life. And we can use that now in our walk with manhood.
Right.
It's important to travel now as us, as being young men.
Right.
When I leave, when I go travel, I may come back and see someone who may speak like yourself. Mm-hmm. And they may have said something that turned on my light switch mentally. Yeah. And it's like, okay, I see what he's saying now. Just going to a different place, going to a different destination, you'd be surprised on what things could, click your light switch on, metaphorically speaking, because you were somewhere else. When you're stuck in being in a complacent, negative situation, sometimes it becomes dull. Right. It becomes very sullen.
Right.
And it can even become withdrawn.
Right.
To the point where you're just stuck in being complacent and you're not really looking to move forward, to the point where your mind is not churning. So I do believe in traveling if you're able to. If you're not able to, you can travel mentally. Yeah. Try a different book out. Try a different sitcom. Right. Watch something in bulk that you never thought that maybe you would do.
Right. And that's a great point. You know why? Because of course we're going to plug our products and our services. I've written at least 10 books. I've published 7 or 8 of them. And I have this belief that I don't always believe in change, but you can buy change and improvement if you change and improve what you buy, right? If you start changing the products and services that you buy for the next 6 months, trust me, I really believe, or I don't want to say that things will change, but I definitely believe that you'll set up the pedestal for change to start to come in. You can't have the same situation when you're bettering and improving the things that you buy. If right now what you buying is not bringing you any change, it's not bringing you any sustenance, then you're not going to have any sustenance because you're not investing in that. When you change, when you improve in what you do invest in, your life will start to make more of an investment in yourself. And I just think that's a very incredible point. Also, in what you bring up about people kind of getting it or not getting it, I think that there's a developmental element of that as well, because you and I, we talk to so many different ages: teens, adolescents, kids, adults, elderly. And one of the things that I think that you're sharing this with me in agreement is that sometimes it's kind of like I always explain it, like if we ask maybe like one of our interns to like go and get lunch for us, and let's say we tell them to go down to Vento's Pizza in East Liberty, but we call them whenever they're in Bloomfield and say, hey, I want that pizza from Vento's right now. They can't get it because they ain't there yet, right? They understand what we're saying ideologically, but because they haven't experienced it, and because they ain't there yet, they're not fully able to get the whole thing. So I think sometimes people see what you're saying, but they can't fully get it because they ain't really there yet.
Yeah, and I hate that they might not see that this is coming. We got to take a short break. We'll be back with the
Welcome back again to the Power of Perspective, the talk show with Shawn and my main man, BG. Appreciate you all for sticking with us. Again, this is the season finale. Man, it's been an incredible 2017. Started out kind of rough for myself, but the higher power saw me through. As we close up the show with this idea of vision, you know, I wanted to talk about something that I heard from Jay-Z one time, man, and it was very ordinary. It wasn't anything too deep, but he had said that whenever he was in, I think, middle school, he went on a trip to his English teacher's house, and he said that, like, his teacher had said, you know what, you're smart, you're very smart, Shawn, and he said, for some reason, I believed her. That's all he said. And like that right there was just like kind of a quantum experience for me, because I think sometimes, not just necessarily in the black community, but just with people, like you grow up and you're in a situation or in an environment, think about those bodies. You're in an environmental body where you're told you're stupid, you're dumb, people like you aren't going to make it. You know, people where you come from don't do anything. And you might be believing you're smart, but because you ain't sure, because you keep getting told that intelligence ain't in places like this, when somebody says you're smart and you go, wow, like, you know what, I believe it. So it caused me to remind the viewers about what Les Brown once said. He said, sometimes you got to believe in other people's belief in you before you believe in yourself.
I actually don't have a comeback for that, Shawn. You know, hearing you say that makes me think of all of the different fields I've worked in over the past 5 or 6 years. I worked as a foster care caseworker. I worked as a direct care worker with mentally challenged and autistic people. Mm-hmm. I've worked as a life coach. I've worked as a character development specialist. I've worked as, you know, on airplanes as a janitor. But all that being said, I think about my vision. I wonder sometimes if people look down on individuals who may work with a person that doesn't seem like they can be worked with. Mm-hmm. Similar to the Jay-Z situation. I think about the days of seeing individuals who work with someone who might be blind or deaf or both, mm-hmm. or a person that is paraplegic. Mm-hmm. They can't use their limbs by any means. Mm-hmm. But there had to be someone that sees something positive. Mm-hmm. They may see their goals. One day you're going to walk again. Mm-hmm. You know, one day you're going to be able to write your name.
Right.
And I challenge our viewers to always keep that in mind. You know, you may not see that person getting off drugs. You may not see that individual graduating high school. Yeah. You may not see that girl starting to love herself, yeah. But someone does. Yeah. And that is my message to those who might not understand vision. Yeah. Vision works in many ways. Yeah. You know, sometimes you have to see that there is someone out there who does see the issue. And I'm going to repeat that. You may not have the gift, but it's up to you sometimes to see that there is other individuals who see that there's a need that can be helped.
That's, you know what, man, I love how the spirit just kind of, you know, brings these ideas together, because as you're talking, you know, it spawns things that I was already wanting to bring up. And when you said that, man, it really, you know, to kind of, you know, I don't want to speak directly to any one particular age group, but I know that for myself, for the past like 8 years, I've been concerned about the elderly, the middle age, in terms of what it's going to look like in the next 20 to 50 years.
You speak for a lot of us, Shawn.
Right, because we don't like, I've been very upset in the sense that, at least here in Pittsburgh, PA, we don't see a lot of males in our community who dress even like this. Right? Remember in the 90s, like, whenever you would look at a grown man, a grown adult, they have on, like, you know, dress pants, dress shoes, maybe a dress shirt. Like, it was classy. You could tell the difference between a grown man and a young man. But now it's like you can't tell the difference no more. So like Gandhi said, we kind of have become the change that we want to see. Now, do we dress like this all the time?
No.
Not necessarily, no. But I tell you what, we're 32 years old and we dress like this more often than not. Especially myself. Like, I want to make a healthy transition into middle adulthood. Like, I don't mind dressing like this no more. You know what I'm saying? Even if I'm from this went on to the store, like, I'm starting to want to separate myself on how kids see me. I might sometimes look like I'm in my 20s, people say, but I'm not in my 20s no more. You know what I'm saying? So I just say that, like, we're even kind of ahead of our time and behind our time in the present, because we dressing like men from back in the 90s, grown men, and we're also trying to encourage men of the future to be more comfortable in, you know, seeing yourself for who you are, a grown man. You know, dress like a grown man.
But this is where the power of vision speaks to me. You know, this is where the Spirit is leading me to go into my next topic. You might not see it, but for every Shawn and BJ, there could be 6 to 7 young men walking from the ages of 16 to maybe 23. I like that, man. Yeah. He's clean.
Yeah.
And they might not even go home and dress like that.
Right.
They might just go home and be like, you know what, one day.
One day. That's
one day.
Right.
Because trust me,
right.
My father, you know, and I'm sure he's probably listening or watching, he always said, man, I ain't never playing golf. Golf. My father's an alpha male,
yeah.
Very athletic, football, basketball, baseball, weightlifting. Always saw him doing things. Yeah. I never thought I would see the day where he's power walking Monday through Friday and going to go hit 18 holes. So, you know,
shout out, Mr. Tench Senior.
Right, wherever he's at, I hope he understands. He never saw that coming. Just like I never saw the day coming where, you know what, I'm gonna have to watch what I eat.
Right, I never saw that day either.
There's see, a lot of people don't want to. Vision has a lot to do with your common sense.
Right,
but you have to spend time with
that.
Yourself in the common place.
Oh man,
you have to.
You hit me with it.
It takes time and preparation. There's a time and place for everything.
Yeah.
There's a time and place to dress. Maybe like an old Wu-Tang member. Excuse me. And then there's a time and place to, you know, put on that blazer, and maybe you just want to have, you know, some clean white tennis shoes on. And then there's a time to dress completely up and business casual.
Right.
But you have to see that.
Right.
If you only see yourself being the t-shirt and jeans era and just eating Cheetos and playing video games, honestly, it's going to be very hard for you to vision the day that you'll have to look a man in his eye, shake his hand, and say, I want this job, I want this opportunity. For all the ladies out there, you know, or, you know, actually for people out there, when it comes to dealing with loved ones and when it comes to dealing with, you know, romance situations, you have to see yourself being more romantic. You have to see yourself being more concerning when it comes to things, or being more discerning. Not necessarily judging your loved one or judging your significant other, but being more discerning. You have to see that. If you don't see that, and if all you have your vision is with, you know, reality soap operas or the hot topics or hot gossip on social media, sometimes that could jade your vision. You know, stick to Tanya, stick to whoever you may be seeing, to all the viewers out there, stick to that significant other. Don't worry about, you know, the nearest, or the latest topic on a soap opera or Wendy Williams show or Cookie. That is entertainment. That's entertainment.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, what's that? What was Eminem's first song? Slim Shady?
I'm the real Slim Shady. Please stand up.
Yeah, yo, you know what happens when you don't have a vision, and when you don't stick to your vision, and when you don't have confidence in your vision. You're very easily influenced by other people's visions, right? And he had a line in that song, and again, look, I'm not being disrespectful to anybody at all, but I'm just speaking it is what it is. He had a line in the song where he went, You might know this one where he went, and there's a million of us just like me, who cuss like me, who just like me, just don't give a like me. And it's like, when I heard that recently, and I'm like, yo, that's it, right? That's the problem.
Every great artist has a line similar to that. Jay-Z has one, Tupac has one. I can't really say them verbatim, especially, you know, as our viewers are watching. If I could, I definitely would break it down for you in the whole nine.
Yeah.
But not to cut you off, Shawn, most artists do predict that there will be a whole bunch of mimics walking the streets.
I think, ain't that where we at now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's a million. Eminem might have been totally wrong. He should have said there might be a billion of us just like me. Seriously, like there's a million of us just like me, who cuss like me, dress like me, talk like whatever. Like,
and I believe he said who don't give a F like
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, who don't give a F like me, which goes back to our one show about how decency has been kind of going by the wayside. I mean, all this is just cyclical, man. It's kind of probably divine that we bring the season finale to the end with a show like this.
Just thinking that, man.
But my gosh, man.
Well, Shawn, before we wrap this show up, the season finale, where do you see yourself going into 2018? I know we're in November, but our viewers, this is our season finale, as he mentioned. What do you see, or what do you want to see come to light in 2018?
Right now, my best response can be just for me to continue to take care of the well-being of myself so that I can help other people take care of their own well-being. So those 8 bodies that you said, the mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, environmental, financial, occupational, and social, you know, to take care of those 8 bodies and balance them as much as possible so that I can achieve so that I can continue to achieve self-actualization and help others achieve their self-actualization as well.
And I see myself expanding more of the spiritual side, and I know that could be such a broad topic, but I don't really spend enough time with myself. You know, I love serving others. I believe that that's what I'm here to do. Those who may be in my inner circle can vouch for that. I love taking care of people. I love helping the nearest individual out that I can. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a person. I love animals. I care about things. I care about God's creatures. But this year coming up, I'm going to be a little bit more self-centered. And I know people may see that and say, you know, what the heck is he talking about? And maybe that'll be a topic in 2018.
Yeah, absolutely, it will be.
I look forward to it. There's a time and place for everything, and I think I did well in 2017. But what I would like to see in 2018 is more days of comfort with myself. Maybe me more with my own comfort food and relaxing and planning for better days, because I do believe that when you take a day of rest, it doesn't always have to be a Sunday or a Monday. Right. Whatever day that you can rest and truly rest. Not sleep, but rest.
Right.
You know, like carefree.
Right.
I'd like to get away more in 2018 to other destinations so I can come back and give our viewers some of the help that they may need, some of the food for thought.
Yes.
So with that being said, I want to tell all of our viewers, first and foremost, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you. Appreciate you very much.
Be careful as the holidays approach and, you know, the weather starts to change. Be mindful. Give yourself 15 extra minutes because you need to warm your car up. Even for y'all who got an automatic starter. And I just want to say, Shawn, thank you, man.
Hey,
thank you for having me in
sure.
2017.
For sure. Thank you for contributing your energy. And for those of you all who continue to definitely become customers and clients of myself, of BJ, we thank you all. To all of, no matter if it was 2010 when you first started with me or if it's 2017 or in between, we thank you for doing business with us. We are very appreciative of that, and we encourage you, the other people out there who haven't become customers or clients yet, to definitely, you know, give us an opportunity. Yes, you're going to be spending some money with us, but in return, you're going to be getting things that are really are priceless. So go to PERSPECTVE.com, check out our services. BJ really is a phenomenal character development coach.
Thanks, man.
I was just telling him about some of the things that I continue to learn from him even before the show started, and just expose. If it's not us, then go invest in another service, you know, comparable to ours that is really going to take care of your well-being and really be genuinely interested in who you are. But we would definitely like to be those two people, and also our other partners at Perspective as well. We would definitely love to be part of your life and to share moments of your life with you. So Any final words from you as well, BJ?
No, just be safe. Just please be safe. And I mean that mentally, spiritually, physically, educationally, occupational, be safe. Take time.
Well, this is the Power of Perspective, the talk show with Shawn and BJ, and we tell you together, we just say expand your perspective, and peace.